I'll hang out for the tacos.
Way to start it out racist.
Hopefully
It was off air when I said that.
There we go. Now we are live. So, hello, everybody. It's Stone Guy 223. Appreciate you tuning in. And let's see. From my left, we got Ralph DeCat, Glock Guru.
Tonight I'll be playing the role of B.A. Baracus.
Baracus. And next to him is the Yankee Marshal.
Hello.
And next to him is Gun Websites.
Which we're going to be changing the name of the channel to A Plate of Delicious Waffles.
And then the Tac Daddy.
I get to be face. I call it.
No,
And then we got Good Guy with a Gun 77.
Howdy.
And we got Digital Profits.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Want to thank everyone for showing up. Enjoy the show.
great. He's high already.
I think he's crazy one.
Shit. And then Cork 71.
Hello, I'll be playing the part of Murdoch.
Yeah, alrighty.
Don't listen to the beeps. I'm doing my code.
Alright, well, we'll jump right in. First off, I think that's Dave's posted this twice in the other chat and this one. I don't know if any of you guys know about the 93-year-old that's one of the few. Was he like the only? Hang on one second. You, Chris, here. Well, he's not the only. Was he?
I'm not making noise.
Dude, you're like fucking wind tunnel.
So, guy, do you have any idea about the coherent thought that you're trying to put together right now?
Not at all, because I'm reading and trying to talk at the same time, so that's not working out too well for me.
I'm waiting for Chris to run over a coyote at any moment.
Oh, snap.
So
They don't say in there if he's the last or the only or anything.
Yeah, so it's a World War II vet that 70 years after parachuting into Normandy, he's gonna parachute again into Normandy at 93 years old, and so Ralph will
We'll be looking for that obituary soon in a newspaper near you.
I just think that's pretty cool. I mean, it's an interesting story for any of you guys that haven't heard about this. Go check it out. I don't know, Ralph, if you can post that link somewhere, maybe. But I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, hopefully they're not going to let him jump alone. Hopefully he'll be with
It'll
a.
definitely be a tandem jump. Tandem jump.
Is he gonna have some Germans wait for him down there and butt stroke him when he lands? Or it won't be authentic.
Why'd you have to go and make it sexual with all the butt stroking talk?
Really?
Yeah.
You got it from that?
But anyway, so that was just a little public service announcement, if you will. I think that's a great story. I think it was on 60 Minutes or something the other night.
I the gentleman. That takes balls.
Props to the guy, but if I was in charge of the production, I'd have him pop a Viagra in the plane and then nail someone when he lands.
Well,
I was going to say it takes balls.
Wife, so.
I just hope he doesn't land on him.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the picture of him, like in his getup, he's holding a Thompson. So I'm really curious to know if they're gonna let him really, like, take a firearm with him, because that'd be
Great.
have a firearm or
They can have non-firing replicas over there, I think. So
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think he's geared up in all the replica gear of what he would have jumped with, 70 years ago, kind of thing.
But still, how cool would it be? Like, no, I'm not jumping with a replica gun. You have to give me a real gun, and he actually walks on Normandy Beach with a real gun.
That'd be cool, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone did.
And they'll have an Every Second Matters patch right on there.
Screw that. I think
You
should have
did know
original stuff.
Gun Websites patch for that, huh?
No.
the paratroopers did land behind enemy lines in Normandy. They didn't land on the beach. The paratroopers did.
Yeah, that would have been quite redundant.
All right, let's move on from that. That was just a neat little story I thought I'd share with you guys. But so I guess everybody's kind of wanting to know, the most breaking news, I guess, would be this the latest shooting at a college, Christian college in Seattle. I'm getting reports of 3 dead, 2 wounded. Apparently it was a shotgun used. They do have the guy in custody. He's alive. I don't know. Anybody else reading anything different than that?
Yeah, I did. CNN reported 50 minutes ago. One person killed and 2 wounded.
Looks like 10 minutes ago they're saying 1 killed, 3 injured, 1 critically.
Yeah, what I heard was 1 killed and 3 injured.
Stable, and the other one that was hospitalized is traumatic emotional distress. I can't remember exactly how they phrased it, but yeah, not a physical injury. So let's see. Let me find that again.
Well, Ralph asked a good question off air. I want to bring it up now. Ralph, go ahead and ask that question again. I think that's a...
Oh, you want to bring it up for me to ask it?
Well, yeah, because I think it had spawned a good conversation. I thought it was a pretty good question.
So the point of it is to exponentially take results to an extreme and look at what public opinion would be. And if you were to take these to if these types of incidents started doubling, tripling, or maybe even going 10 times more as often, would public opinion turn towards you need to protect yourself and carry a gun, like has happened in Detroit, to the point where the police have come out and basically said, you need to protect yourself first because we can't be there for you. Would public sentiment change if these, what increase in volume, or would an increase in volume ever change public perception?
Well, first keep in mind, in Detroit itself, the average police response time is 45 minutes.
What? Where are you getting that number? For what city?
Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
They are so understaffed. It takes 40. So understaffed and so high crime. It takes 45 minutes for the average call.
Well, what does Detroit have to do with anything?
Well, Ralph used
it
as an example.
Let's put it this way. Let's say that today's police response average is 7 minutes, and now nationwide it becomes 45 minutes. Is there ever a point in which that changes public perception to say, oh, we need to be responsible for our own security and safety, or is it always going to be, well, the police will show up eventually?
No, I think
only with handguns, not long guns. Remember.
Yeah. We'll get into that in a minute, but I think honestly, I don't know. I mean, because we've talked about it before, how there's that overwhelming amount kind of in the middle that aren't really pro-gun, they're not anti-gun, and I would venture to say that if we started seeing a extremely disproportionate, like more shootings, more this kind of stuff going on, I would think that the people in the middle would turn more towards the pro-gun side to take their own personal protection in their own hands. To me, that makes sense. I don't know. Is that kind of what you're thinking there, Ralph? I mean,
I don't know. That's really my point. The rational side of me says, yeah, hopefully that's the way that it would go. But the way that I see media and everything else, and I think that's not the case.
Yeah, I just can't imagine people sitting back going, "Oh shit, there's a shooting happening and I'm being facetious here, but there's a shooting happening every day. We need to get rid of guns because we know."
A lot of people think that because we have access to guns is why there are so many shootings.
But we already know that criminals procure guns regardless. Criminals don't have access to guns, and they procure guns. So, I mean, that's...
But from an anti-gunner's point of view, it's because you have access to guns is why they can procure guns. You see what I'm saying?
So I hear you, but I don't understand that line of thought. Yeah,
nor do I, but the problem is ours from an anti-guns perspective.
I think you're definitely right, and it doesn't matter if they have logic or not, because that's the way that it is. That's the way they think.
You got to look at Middle America. Which way will they swing? And I mean, by Middle America, those that are neither pro-gun or anti-gun. How are they going to sway? And that's the majority of America. And are they going to sway what the media is portraying, or are they going to find alternative sources of information and go with that? Go in that direction. Alternative, I mean, pro-gun side.
Yeah, well, most of them go by easily go by the mainstream media. It's just the most common thing to do, because only people who look for, there's only a certain percentage of people who look for the truth, who look for something else, and then there's people who let the rest of the world think for them. So that's why they get mainstream media.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of. Are they going to be watching CNN or NBC or even Fox, and which way are they going to go?
I'm curious to see what the actual what the time of engagement, or the elapsed time of engagement, because I know Seattle is pretty wealthy, so they should have a pretty good police force. I know when the Columbia Mall shooting happened, which is a very wealthy part of Maryland, it took them 7 to 12 minutes, and I think the DC Navy Yard shooting was also like 10 minutes plus. So I think just putting out that number, be like, hey, in case there's a mass shooter, you have 7 minutes to worry, or whatever time elapsed.
Hey, so real quick, we just had someone join us. Dan, I don't recognize your icon.
Dan the Firearm guy.
That's me.
Oh shit! Okay, right on. You had a different icon than when you were on the Tac Daddy show.
Let me take a look here.
You don't have his
camera. Yeah, that's my name there.
Okay, right on. Oh, cool. Well, good. Glad you made it over, brother.
Yeah, thanks. There we go. All right.
I don't know. So, I don't know. To me, I would hope that people would be. I don't know. I just don't think we give people enough credit. I would hope that they would take the stance of being more proactive and taking responsibility for their own safety. Regardless of what the media is. I mean, the media demonizes firearms in general and pushes their agenda to, regardless, and we still have these atrocities occurring. So at some point, the general public's got to wake up and understand that.
Well,
truly,
I look at it this way: there's always going to be a percentage that is never. They'll never hold a gun. They'll never take another person's life, even in their own self-defense. So there is going to be that solid percentage that'll never change. My question is, what are the ones that are on the fence? What type of incident takes them to over to the other side that says, boy, I can't wait? Is it, the police 7-minute response turns into 45 minutes? Is it that these things start happening, every couple weeks?
I think honestly, it's got to. I mean, it's as shitty as it sounds. I think something's got to hit home. It's got to happen to a friend or down the street or, to a family member before they realize that this can happen to me. That this just doesn't happen in places like Detroit or places.
Really? You need to have somebody die before drunk driving is a bad thing? You need to get a
some
broken arm
people,
before gravity sucks?
Some people, it takes that.
Oh, bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, if not, how can you explain the stance that they have now?
How can we explain what we have now? That's a totally different story. But the reason we're in the situation we have now is because we sit around going, I wonder what's going to happen, instead of doing something about it. We have a situation, it sounds like today, no matter what you listen to, the asshole was mauled by a bunch of people that were standing there and took action and held them down until the police came and did whatever they needed to do, right? So why aren't we cheering that part? Why aren't we only focusing on that part?
Right,
It's our choice to sit back and let them feed us the bullshit part about how the gun's the fault.
Oh well, I agree with you 100%. We're not. I mean, I'm not gonna tolerate them constantly demonizing. And I think that's why we have these discussions, and that's why we put out so much pro-gun
Right, so what's the point of having the discussion if we all agree there, and then get the discussion, get everybody together, and then go, well, it sucks that we can't do nothing about it because they're going to do it, they're going to spin it this way again.
Well, I think we are doing something in our own little way. I mean, slowly but surely. But the biggest thing is I also don't want them to say, well, look at that. These guys were able to tackle them and subdue them without the use of a firearm. I mean, do you think that's going to get brought up? And
I hope it does, because we don't need to have firearms in order to be responsible for our self protection.
Yep. Now, what happened? He was tackled first by 2 security guards, and once those security guards had him, that's when the students piled on. Make sure that nothing else happened. And I applaud the students for taking their lives in their own hands in that situation. And I also applaud the security guards who aren't getting paid very good money to.
Well, now see, I'm getting conflict. Was it an actual security guard, or was it? They said it
2
was a student.
Two security guards. They pepper sprayed them. They're not armed with guns, or they use pepper spray.
They were actual security guards, not
actual security guards, and then students helped the 2 security
guards. The first report said it was a student monitor, like a building monitor, not an actual.
Well, I'm reading. Yeah, I'm going off of CNN's report. CNN's very easy to find website, so anybody can verify that. So. Yeah, I'm taking that off. That's
well, that's cool to know that they have actual, security, on campus. We've talked about having security in, high schools, elementary schools. Either way, it still didn't stop it, but at least it seemed like it definitely lessened the fatalities or lessened the severity by them intervening.
Right, the security guard actually tackled him, or pepper sprayed and tackled him while he was reloading a shotgun. So, that's pretty brave that security guards will take out a shooter without when they don't have a firearm because they're using pepper spray. I'd imagine if they had a firearm, that would be the first choice to use pepper spray.
Well, what if the students had to carry?
Yeah, I think that's going to bring up a great point of student carry, specifically like in a anti-friendly gun city, but in a very pro-gun state. So I think it's a perfect debate floor. I wonder what Yankee thinks about it since he lives there.
So Seattle's a real pro-gun state?
No, but Seattle's a very anti-gun city in Washington State, which is very pro-gun.
Okay, I didn't know that Washington State was real pro-gun. Same like you always hear, like tree-hugging hippies in that area.
Yeah, with the tree-hugging hippies that live in the woods.
Yeah, we're very gun-friendly.
Every state.
We got open carry. We've got, shall issue concealed carry, which basically, another thing is we've got absolutely no testing for your concealed carry. You just have to be a citizen or legal resident and go down and fill out the paperwork. And not have a clean background. That's only the requirement we have for a carry permit is a clean background.
So do you think Seattle, like after this, is going to tighten up or loosen up?
Seattle ain't going to change. Seattle's very anti-gun. They got very anti-gun politicians that they continue to elect. So Seattle ain't going to change much.
So do you think the state could force it on them? Are the state legislators?
Well, there's not much. They aren't doing much. I mean, there's not much they can do. We have a very strong state preemption against local and county ordinance for firearms, so they can't really do anything.
Ah, okay.
Our state, Washington State, has one of the strongest constitutional preemptions of firearms regulations in the country. So.
Have you guys ever had a situation like this in Seattle that you can recall? Like type of
a security guard once tried to stop a shooter at the mall in Seattle, and he was dumb enough to say, "Drop your weapon," and the guy turned around and shot him in the face and killed him. But which is a good example of never pull your gun and tell someone to drop theirs if they've already got theirs drawn and firing. But we've had stuff like that happen here before, and they've tried to push stuff all the time. In fact, they pushed some stuff not too long ago, but it all got declared. That's nice. You wasted all that time and taxpayer money to pass it, but it's illegal by our state constitution, and therefore it is null and void.
There's no other mass shootings or anything like that in that area?
Mass shootings, like every place has had them.
You know, it's not a mass shooting is right, because you can turn on the evening news here in Detroit, and that's a daily occurrence, and most of the time it doesn't make the news. Because it happened on a college campus, though, that's going to be the difference. That's going to be the thing they focus on.
Yeah, we talked about that. Not Detroit. What was it the other night? Chicago, like over the holiday weekend. Was it? Didn't we look? Was that Chicago that we looked up stats? Like
yes,
like 15 people were killed over the weekend, and we didn't hear anything about it because it was like mostly gang on gang violence or whatever.
I think it was one more that was killed by the asshole in California that week. You know, that Monday, I believe it was, or Tuesday, whatever day it was. But there were 15 people shot that were shot and not killed. But there were, you know, I think 5, 6, or 7, something like that, that were killed.
You got to remember, here in Seattle, here in Washington State, is also where that guy walked into the Dunkin' Donuts or whatever it was and gunned down 4 police officers. So we're not, you know, unheard of for things like that to happen around here. We've had several in the past 10 years, I'd say. Usually 4 or 5 people, nothing like massive, like 20 or anything, but.
Well, is anybody keeping up with the shooting in Canada?
You can't be a shooting in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, some guy killed 3 cops. What was it, yesterday?
Yesterday. No, Eastern Canada, Alberta.
That can't be true. Can't be possible. They don't carry. They're not allowed to carry guns in Canada.
Yeah, they did show. There was one picture of him, and they did. What I heard today was they had spotted him this morning sometime, but he managed to elude authorities. So.
Boy, oh boy! You know, some of those Canadians. You know, what would they say? Those were those Mounties.
Yeah, Royal Canadian Police or something like that.
Yeah, those guys. You know, they're pretty tough. I don't know how this guy. Did they say they killed 3 of them or shot 3 of them?
No, he killed 3.
Killed 3.
Killed 3 and 2 more in the hospital in critical condition or in surgery or something. Last I heard.
Yeah, something tells me this guy was he knew what was going on. He had planned this, and who knows? These guys may have been hanging out drinking coffee and just got ambushed. But,
no, they actually were killed in a basically a shootout. You know, from what I heard.
Wow, that's interesting.
Because he was wanted before he shot the police. So.
Wow.
Yeah, he was using, you know, rifles. So. And one picture I saw, one looked like it was a surplus.
Well, I read the report on it, and you know the language used, and that's something I wanted to bring up. It seems like, you know, I don't know if it's just the reporter or the writer that has to use this colorful language, you know, to be descriptive, and you know, but the way they described him in fatigues and, you know, full combat gear. I mean, why do they always go after, you know, if anybody's got a black shirt on or fucking camouflage pants, they call them, you know, fatigues, and they make them sound military, scary. You know, it's like they make it sound scary looking. Or
they actually had a picture of him walking.
Yeah, he is actually dressed like that.
Yeah, he is actually dressed in. If I were saw him, I would classify it. He was dressed in fatigues.
Yeah, but does that matter? I mean, I don't know. They always.
Well, if somebody's reading that and spots a guy, I don't think he's got a whole lot of time to go and change.
So you think it's more of just an actual description of the suspect versus words to pull at the emotional.
It's two
strings of people.
I think
it's both.
I think TV time
Both.
is pretty expensive, and they don't just waste time up there. They say stuff for the intent.
I mean,
With the intent of describing the suspect, or with the intent of making him sound more menacing?
Yeah, well, like,
I
it's
mean,
100% what you're saying, man. It's obvious. They could have used other words. They could have talked about 100 other things. They decided to talk about his clothes. Probably because they didn't know anything else to talk about.
I think the whole fear aspect is just a side effect of the description. I mean, you know, like when someone says, "Oh, it's a black male wearing baggy jeans," blah blah blah. That's just a description, but it also implants a fear of.
Where's a black male wearing baggy jeans?
Probably in your bedroom.
God, I hope not. That's scary.
It's using prop in the bedroom.
So yeah, so it's actually, hey, you want to talk about your cat cork? But it's actually, but it's actually a side effect of the fact. So it is a true description, but then it becomes an issue in the human psyche where it evolves into fear.
See, Marco, I just was describing Girk.
Yeah. All right. What else we got going on?
You'll be lucky. Okay.
All right. Well, I guess we'll talk to that one to death.
Which
what
one?
was the other topic? The whole shooting thing.
Oh, the Canadian one? Okay.
Let's talk this hostage to death, huh?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up.
Everyone watch the handover video? Pretty interesting stuff there.
I did. So what do you mean by interesting?
Oh, there's tons of interesting stuff in there.
I can't believe they showed it in general.
They didn't? Well, who do you think did? Did the Taliban release that on Al Jazeera?
Yeah, that was a Taliban video. That wasn't our video.
Yeah, it's not like we released that.
Allegedly.
Well,
I actually have a video coming up tomorrow about that topic. So.
Who's not is it Feinstein? Who's the leader of the Senate House Committee or whatever?
Pelosi.
That's pissed off at Obama because he didn't go through proper channels, didn't go through Congress.
Well,
even Feinstein said that he should have gone through Congress.
Well, but they passed a law last year saying that he didn't have to, so that's their own goddamn fault for passing that law allowing for easier disposition of prisoners of war. So.
Yeah, basically, it's has to.
And now that I think it's, since they've got full disclosure of the Congress or this, what was it, Congress or Senate ruling that he did defect or leave post, deserted.
There's no congressional ruling on whether he left post or not. In fact, the investigation.
Yeah, in 2010, they issued a statement that declared
Congress
that he
doesn't rule whether someone deserted or not.
Who was it then?
Made an investigation of whether he deserted or not.
It was someone official. It was either Congress or Senate. Someone official released a statement in 2010 that declared that guy.
Congress doesn't do that. It's done
someone did. Who is it then?
Uniform Court of Military Justice. That's.
Yeah, and all they did was conduct an investigation that said that based on the evidence that they had at their disposal, it was likely that he was guilty of dereliction of duty and abandoning his post. There was no conclusive evidence, etc. You got to remember these same people that are feeding you this shit right now, and I'm not saying he didn't desert because he probably did, but you got to remember the same people feeding you all this shit right now are the same people that tried to tell you Jessica Lynch was a hero.
I'll go. I can't remember who said it, but it's an actual statement.
Well, they can make all the fucking statements they want. They make statements every day.
No, I mean not just a random statement. It was an official document posted that said that guy definitely deserted his post.
And they still promoted him, so it definitely wasn't official. Because if it was, they would have never promoted him.
Yeah, it was official by one group, and then you got ass clowns still calling this guy a fucking hero.
I don't know who's calling him a hero.
Oh. There's all sorts of people rallying for this guy.
I haven't seen one person call him a hero.
Oh, well. I'll go find some articles and post the links in because there's all sorts of people and
that he proudly served.
Because I don't think you're going to find a single entity calling this guy a hero.
Oh, dude, there's 4 or 5 people in the government. Either
What's her name? The lady Susan. What's her last name?
Rice.
American list. No, it's no, because that's Condoleezza Rice. Is it
no,
Susan
that's
Rice too?
Bush. Condoleezza Rice.
He's talking the other lady.
Yeah, the Rice lady. I know she's one of them.
She called him.
We are very proud of everything he did.
And he served diligently.
Trust me, he was totally brought in to be we're saving the last man. And I'm not saying, I think the deserter should be saved, but I think that his situation should be reviewed, and if it was criminal, then he should be tried and everything else. I don't personally.
Exactly. What I say in my video is when I wore the uniform, there was one tenet of the military that was understood, and no one had a fucking problem with it. And that was, regardless of what level of soldier you are, regardless of whether you were a good one or a bad one, we don't leave fucking soldiers behind. We come get your ass. If you did something wrong, we'll punish you for it, but we don't leave you behind.
Right.
But then at the same time, it goes back to what they actually gave up. So someone who is, let's just say suspected or strongly believed to be a deserter, I haven't been in the military, so I mean, that hasn't been engraved in me. But you guys still feel that strongly to give up that much?
You're still a soldier. We still leave a soldier behind.
You don't know that he's a deserter, and if he is a deserter, he might be a criminal. You don't just let criminals be like, well, he decided to be criminal. Take your secrets and give them to the bad guys.
Exactly. That's why I said
get them so they can stop him from
either way. Because if they did wrong, we have to punish them. If they did right, we owe it to them to get them.
He's definitely a deserter. There's too much evidence against him to prove otherwise.
No, he's not definitely a deserter. There's no way we can say that. Everybody was saying Jessica Lynch was definitely a fucking hero too at one point.
You got guys from his own platoon.
Doesn't matter. They had people talking about Jessica Lynch and how they knew she was valiant and she fired her rifle till the barrel was red, and none of that fucking happened.
So, all right. Well, regardless of that point, I mean, I believe yes, we have an obligation to go back for the every last man, but we also go in. They also go in under the understanding that you may not, be recovered. So there is.
You don't negotiate with terrorists.
And 5 for 1 in negotiating with terrorists. Those are two things that I don't think were right.
Well, see, I actually don't have a problem with them releasing those guys at all, because here's one thing I have a problem with. One, we as a country, we don't maintain prisoners of war, especially after the war is over. That's just something that was against our code of conduct. And two, I don't like the U.S. government being able to hold people indefinitely with no charges.
Yeah.
No state should have that power.
Yes.
That's
what they were doing. They're holding these people indefinitely with no charges based on the fact that they might become a threat later.
That applies to us now too. Don't worry.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. That it applies to us.
Domestic terrorists.
Yeah, domestic. Yeah, but let's not be so naive to say just because we haven't filed charges on these guys that there wasn't.
So who's this a win?
Let's be so naive that if someone sits in a jail cell for 10 years and no one's filed charges against them, that we shouldn't be holding them. That's not naive.
Here's my question: who's this a win for, us or the Taliban?
A win for anybody. I think in some ways it's a win for us, because we need to get rid of these fucking prisoners of war that we're not supposed to be holding, that shouldn't be our responsibility. We shouldn't be paying millions of dollars a day to take care of and guard and safeguard, that are actually, anybody that's got an intelligence analyst background will tell you doing so is making us more unsafe than safe. Holding these guys to where they can be used as figureheads and martyrs for their cause is far more unsafe than the safety we're gaining from holding 3 or 4 guys. Just not a good idea.
In what world does it matter that, I mean, do we really think that they have some kind of codes or something in their head that are stopping their units from taking out something here?
No.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
They're just assholes, they're criminals or whatever. Either they go to some jail in their own country, or why do we hold them? I mean, it seems to me like most people are like, we shouldn't be in other countries. We shouldn't send it foreign aid. So why should we just be holding a bunch of fucking criminals in Cuba?
Where did these people get arrested? See, again, I want a little back.
All crazy places overseas.
Well, let me tell you something that happened.
They're all affiliated with the Taliban. I mean,
let me tell you something that happened quite a bit.
We're told.
How we filled up Here's how we filled up our pins.
If you're going to take that, you're just going to question everything, and I mean, you could explain away everything by just saying, "Oh, that's what we're told." There's no real evidence. That's what we're told. Bullshit. I mean, you've got people that have been captured, fucking with bomb-making material, or in the presence of Al Qaeda terrorists.
They were enemy combatants in a time.
Dude, you're told that. You don't know that for sure. I don't know that for sure. I mean, you're gonna scold me for not accepting them without. Evidence, so you're gonna for accepting them.
I'm not scolding you. I mean, you're a grown ass man.
I know. I'm just saying. But if you're gonna say that it's not wise to assume everything is wrong, then why is it wise to assume everything is legit?
Well, because when you have American soldiers that have captured these people.
Look at it this way, Stone Guy. How many French people did the Germans capture with bomb-making materials and illegal firearms and stuff during World War II?
Well, I'm not going with you there.
Because but I'm saying they're enemy combatants. It doesn't matter what their charges. They're enemy combatants. They tried to kill our soldiers. That's not forgivable to me in any way. But we have procedures that we use to deal with these people after the war is over. We turn them over to their own governments. We let their own governments deal with them. Or we turn them over to international governments, international policy holders, and make them deal with them. We don't take on this responsibility of indefinitely holding prisoners of war, especially ones we don't charge with any crimes.
Well, I don't think the war is over. We're still fighting terrorism.
The war's over. I hate to break it to you. They already declared into hostilities. So.
Saying we don't, but we obviously do until we choose to trade them.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be holding them.
Off them already. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, I'd agree with that.
They are a negative thing for us. They are a liability. We should not be accepting that liability.
Did those prisoners have any more intelligence value? That's my main thing too. Is if they don't have intelligence value, and they're then they have no value to us, and except for us as bargaining, as trading chips.
Yeah, and plus
apparently they were like the right hand man.
For so long that any information that they would have at this point would be so outdated and so useless that they wouldn't be valuable in that aspect at all. And
I would think that they'd be easy to fight if they were so stupid as to be so rigid that if a guy gets taken out, they can't continue to fight. I think they're so dynamic that they could care less, that their structure is made up where if you cut off a head to come back, or however that little saying goes, that these guys, like Ninky's saying, are pointless. They're just becoming martyrs. Now they've been taken by the bad guys, and we look like worse bad guys because now we're taking people.
Have you guys seen the videos of what these motherfuckers do to regular people over there?
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's awful. Have you seen what they do to their children and their daughters and their everything else? It's horrible, period. But that doesn't mean that we start violating the principles of who we are as a country and a people just because they're awful people.
So we should.
Or if we're gonna, then let's fucking do it.
Your argument is
either cut their fucking heads off or let them go.
Your argument is that because it costs money, we shouldn't violate our code to release these people that we know do these types of things.
That's completely
No, money was one piece of it, but he said that that's a piece of it. But I think he's also saying the whole what it's doing to those countries and what it's making us look like and what it's ripping us apart.
And how it's an authority that we shouldn't even have. Why would we trust our government to just say, hey, trust us? There's no real crimes we can charge these guys with, but trust us. We need to keep them locked up indefinitely. Why would we want our government to have that ability? Why would we accept
And let's see, are we in a country where we just lock people up for no effing reason and we got the highest prisoner rates, or are we one of those countries that's real judicious about who we jail? I'm not saying those people ain't bad guys, but come on. If we let our government go, they're going to arrest half the freaking world.
I mean, they're horrible bad guys. They're horrible bad guys, but you got to remember, to serve some people, they're heroes. To us, they're bad guys. But that's all we can deal with. We can deal with how we treat bad guys, how we treat our enemies, and how we treat our enemies is indicative of how we treat our own. Because inevitably, how we treat our enemies is how we end up treating our own. And that's something I'm not willing to accept from our government, is just locking people up forever with no charges.
Well, hell, we've already passed that in this country. We can do that to our own people now.
And you want that?
No, hell no.
Then why are you supporting?
So why would we fight it in every
because
freaking direction.
we're not talking about our own fucking civilians,
So you
our
think it
own
matters
citizens.
what-
We're talking about
I
Taliban terrorists.
think it depends on what piece of dirt you were born on how we should treat you as far as human rights are concerned. I thought our ideals on human rights were that they were extended to all
fuck
human
that.
beings,
If
all
you're a
mankind.
Taliban terrorist, you have no human
Of course
rights.
they'd have the same fucking rights. I don't get to go over there and just go, hey, you got a shit on your
Bullshit.
head, I'm going to blow your brains
No
out.
fucking way. If you catch a Taliban terrorist that have made IEDs that fucking kill
Right.
our
And
soldiers,
if you catch them doing it, Stone Guy, guess what we do? We charge them with it. We don't just lock them away forever and not charge them. If we actually have something against them, we charge them. Just like if I catch someone's throat with a knife, I don't just lock them up for 20 years and never charge them. I charge them with it.
But you keep saying we do this and we should do this, but the truth of the matter is all these things that you're saying, we're doing the opposite.
And you want to accept that?
You keep asking me if I want to. No, that has nothing to do with the fact that you're talking like we do it this way, but we don't.
We're supposed to. Do you think that we have a criminal system that allows for indefinite detention without charges?
I think
we do.
The system has done, and let me answer that question, please. I think what the criminal system has changed in over the last 50 years with the privatization of prisons in America is indicative of what goes on the world stage when we find new criminals to put into the system.
Well, even in our even in our prison for profit system, which I've made videos on before, and everyone knows how against I am, we still charge people. We still charge them with a crime before we lock them up. We still charge them, we try them, and then we lock them up. We don't just lock them away and say, we'll try you someday and see if you're guilty.
But those same rules don't apply? I mean, and I'm not familiar with this.
Yes, those rules do apply. We do not.
If you're in a time of war, I don't know, like Geneva Convention or however.
Yes, it does. The Geneva Convention does apply, and the Geneva Convention does not allow for that.
Come on, don't you remember when they started Guatemala or whatever it's called? They had to create this place on a communist island that nobody really owns, so that they could get around the fact that there's no precedence for doing this.
These are conflicts other than war, and you're talking about renditions. You know.
So that's how they were able to keep these guys locked up for so long without.
Yeah, that's why we didn't lock them up here, because if we locked them up here, we'd have to follow the law.
Yeah,
if we brought them on our soil and called them criminals, we have to treat them like criminals.
Yeah.
So in Guantanamo Bay,
of war, we have to say that we're at war with somebody.
So
instead, we just said, let's make a base over there where nobody will complain because it's on fucking Cuba, and we'll just do whatever you feel like with them until everybody forgets about them.
Exactly. If they brought them over,
including Obama,
you have to charge them.
So
I agree that you should. Personally, I agree that Gitmo shouldn't be there, but I don't think that this is the way to empty him out.
No, this is a ridiculous way to empty him out. But what are you going to do? At some point, you got to say, look, we got a spoiled, something gross in the garbage can. We got to do something with it. We're not going to just live here with it for the rest of the time.
$2 for your garbage. Do you just throw your garbage away, or do you take the $2 and give it to them?
No, I'm not going to go that far.
If I can get something out of my garbage, I'm going to get something out of it.
Well, you're different than the rest of us, it sounds like. I don't know if we necessarily need to set these people free, but maybe we should figure out somebody who also is pissed at them and give them to them and let them be responsible.
Well, I'm not going to get into a situation where if we find someone that we can't charge with anything, or we don't, can't find anything they're actually guilty of, we'll find some rogue nation that's willing to behead people because they, don't accept Allah or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't say that either. I said maybe take them back to where they came from. And I just don't know the politics over there. I don't think we took them out of there was Republicans and Democrats, and we picked up a bunch of Democrats and we're going to return them to the Republicans. I think there was a whole bunch of stuff going on over there, right? And
my name is Patrick Kilcherman.
The heck?
What the hell was that?
Where'd that come from?
Hi, Patrick.
That was from Dan.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, no worries, brother.
But bottom line is, I don't think we should be holding people indefinitely, and 2, we bring back every soldier. So I don't really see a problem with anything that happened.
5 to 1. You don't think? What about 1 to 1? You don't think 5 to 1's a little?
I don't care. We got to get rid of all of them. It's a clearing sale. We got to
Whoa! There's 2 separate issues, entirely separate issues. We're talking about one American.
I wouldn't care if they would have given every person in Gitmo for a ham sandwich.
I wouldn't
That's
care
your
because the whole
feelings on
point is they
Gitmo.
aren't supposed to be there.
Those
Listen,
people
we're
don't
not
eat ham, they
okay.
would have been lamb.
Slow down. We're not talking about separate Gitmo. Talk about hostage negotiations and relations. You
Okay, well,
don't go.
who else are we trying to get back?
You don't go 5 for. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You're
we're
setting a
talking about
precedent.
the principle of negotiating with
You're setting
terrorists.
a precedent, and you.
There is no. Well, here's the thing too. If you've got one item that's worth $1,000, do you trade it for one item that's worth nothing or $10, or do you
You're
try
talking about people that already think we're dogs and less than dirt.
Well, I don't think our soldiers are dogs. I would trade 5 people that I want to do anyway to get back one of our soldiers any day of the week.
No, you're not changing the Taliban's opinion of us to say, oh, they're.
I'm not trying to change the Taliban's opinion of us.
No,
If
but
you
you're
think
saying
that's my
that
goal,
5
then
to
you
1
misguide
is
it.
somehow
I'm not
worth
the
more.
Taliban's opinion. I'm trying to get a soldier home. I'm trying to get rid of some garbage that I shouldn't be taking care of this garbage anyway. I'll give them all of the fucking garbage for the one soldier any day of the week.
So you don't think that sets a bad precedent for every other scenario
We're going to be doing this every week? How many soldiers do you think we're trying to get back?
Well, that's the
how
problem,
about
though. If it sets,
Whoa, how about kidnapped Americans going
there you go. There you
We
go.
don't usually, kidnapped Americans are not the same thing as an American troop.
Do you think
that's not dealt with the same way? Doesn't have the same.
If you start negotiating with
And here's
terrorists,
another thing too. When a U.S. citizen goes across the seas and goes to another country, they do so of their own free will and they take their chances. When a soldier goes across seas, he does so on the dime of the U.S. Constitution. He does so with the guarantee of us that we take care of them.
By the government.
whoa. So you're telling me that it's okay for us to leave that Marine in Mexico that took a wrong turn because he wasn't on the government's dime when he did it?
If he made a mistake, he broke a law, yeah, it is different. It is totally different. If a vacationer goes to fucking Mexico and gets in trouble and gets thrown in prison, that is not the same thing as a soldier being taken captive. A soldier has been given a guarantee by us as a nation that we have their back and that we will do
Listen, you're arguing with the people that already agree with you, but you're talking about the Taliban who are short-sighted.
I don't care who we're talking about. I don't give a fuck about the Taliban.
Because that's the next argument that's going to happen whenever they.
How is the Taliban important in this argument?
Because they're who you just negotiated with 5 for 1. So the next.
They didn't give these people to the Taliban. They gave these people to another country. They gave them to another
people of Qatar, right? Who is there?
Who's Qatar? Who's Qatar? Do you think that's a Taliban nation?
Who exchanged the American over? The people of Qatar or the Taliban?
Qatar is one of our allies. It's been one of our allies.
Who exchanged Bergdahl over? The Taliban or Qatar?
What's that?
Who exchanged the prisoner over? The Taliban or Qatar?
We gave the prisoners to Qatar.
Oh, okay, but where did the American come from?
It came from the Taliban.
Exactly.
So I don't understand your point. That seems like they gave up something and got nothing then, if that's your point.
Wrong. So the Taliban, in the Taliban's view, they can kidnap 10 Americans and get 50 people out of Guantanamo.
They're not simplistic and stupid.
Yes, they are.
No, they are not. Have
Yes,
you ever
they
fucking
are.
dealt with these people? No, you haven't.
Yeah, you don't know anything about me. So don't even assume.
Have you ever dealt with
Where do you think our servers for gun channels are? You think we can afford to buy American servers?
Here's the thing. These people aren't simplistic and stupid, and the people making these deals aren't goat herders. They understand the special circumstances of this. They understand we're stuck with these high commodity prisoners that we don't want anymore. Period. We don't want them. They've got a soldier we do want. Those are very special circumstances, and they know that. They know every time they kidnap some vacationer in Peru, they're not going to get the same kind of treatment.
Well, let's say Yankees, right, somehow, which nobody's going to really agree to on this one. But isn't it a bad PR move for him to do it? Even if they're not worth anything, you're not going to defend his obliviousness to how people are going to react to 5 to 1.
Talking about the president?
Well, yeah, he's the one that made the decision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't care if I was making that decision, and if I was, like, say, if I was the colonel in charge of this decision. And believe me, the president really didn't do the work for this. The president didn't do these negotiations.
Oh, he
Whatever.
facilitated.
Okay.
Dude,
He's
that's
finally
No,
responsible,
taking
so
credit
he's the
for
one who's out there making statements today that it's
the
all good.
president's the one sitting on his fucking throne, taking all the credit for being the president that brought the last prisoner home.
And here's the truth about it: there were a team of probably 15 to 20 negotiators, including colonels.
Sure, there always are, but he's the one that has the ultimate responsibility, and he's the one taking credit on the news for it.
And there's been 5 colonels that have went on record that said this was a ridiculous.
And I guarantee you, there's 100 of them that would think it's great. Right now, what you're seeing is you're seeing them parade out all the people. This guy that was Mitt Romney's foreign aid spokesman has actually they turned over the documents the other day to CNN, where he's crafting a plan to demonize the trade and demonize this soldier to gain political capital out of it. Now, that's one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard. An organization demonizing a U.S. soldier to gain political capital. So I'm not going to stand by and support that. I'm not going to stand by and listen to their fucking talking heads that want to talk it down. All I care about is a U.S. soldier was brought back that we had an obligation to bring back. And as far as I'm concerned, we got rid of some garbage to do it.
Yankee's still right.
I agree with that. I agree with that for just the basic principle that, yeah, I mean, just for the basic purpose of the usefulness of those prisoners are gone and done. If they're not going to be punished, they should have been punished a long time ago. If they weren't going to be punished any further than detention, then this is probably the best thing that we can do. Not that, this is not a prisoner exchange where if they demanded something, they'll get something. No. It's, we got the guy, and the people we trade off are useless. They're not like they're like uber important leaders or anything like that. And if they are, we'll take care of that later on.
And we didn't, and believe me, they didn't come and say, "Hey, give us 5 guys, or we'll give you this guy." We basically just said, "Hey, we want that guy. How about we release these assholes we don't want anymore?"
Yeah, it's not like they hijacked the plane and said, "I want these 5 guys back, or else." We didn't acquiesce. We did not acquiesce to anything.
We basically said, "Here, take our garbage out, and then give us back our, the keys to our Lexus you have."
Yeah. If anything, we didn't negotiate. We won. No, not win. We didn't even what it was win an argument. It was like we didn't negotiate. We told them, "Hey, we want that. You give me this." They acquiesced. They're the ones who gave up.
Really? So if you think a score of 5-1 is winning, then I don't.
Why do you keep saying 5-1? You compare it like they're even, they're even commodities. Like somehow these 5 worthless pieces of shit that we shouldn't be feeding every day are somehow the life of a soldier. I won't even have that argument with you.
Because you're looking at it from our opinion and not the other side.
Yeah.
So if one of these guys within 6 months does something catastrophic to Americans, you'll eat crow?
The other side says we just got 5 people for 1. And
you're applying your own value to them, not market value.
View.
I'll bet you they take those dudes and turn them into suicide bombers just to spite it in the first place.
2-1 is bad. 5-1 is ridiculous. We look so.
I mean, what happens when they for somebody that's a high-ranking official? Is it going to be 100-1, 200-1, 500-1?
Well, what? There's only like 150 left in Gitmo. I think like 150 or 120.
Wait, are you saying if they took one of our high officials?
Yes.
Well, I say they should try it. See what happens.
They do it.
You don't think this might be more of an incentive now that they actually have a number that they can equate 1 soldier to 5 people in Guantanamo?
And a very suspect soldier, not just,
Yeah, not just
really care
an
about
untouchable ward.
I really don't. I do, but I don't. Not in the point of the argument of this first argument of this sets a bad precedent.
I understand where you guys are coming from, and I understand where it's a hard thing. Trust me, I'm like in the middle of this because in one point, we have to get this guy back because he is an American citizen and he is a soldier, no matter what he did. Because I was in the army. Here's the thing about being a soldier, and I'm not going to question anybody's experiences here, but no matter what you did, you're worth something as a soldier. If you screwed up, you fucked up. Until they process you out, you're a soldier. If you get kidnapped, napping in your post. I'm not saying that's what he did. I'm just saying if you got kidnapped because you napped in your post, we're gonna get you. They're gonna punish you later. But they're gonna get you back because. But and I do understand at the same time.
They can come tomorrow.
Hold on. Is that a background noise? Hold on.
No problem. It's just in a hallway. Don't worry.
Okay. It does. Even if and I understand at the same time. Yeah. We gave 5 guys. Whether it be the value is worthless or whether it be valuable, whether it be future threats, we gave to 5 guys back, make it look like that we did something. We traded something for something less valuable. It is a caveat. It is what you're gonna do. So we basically went, either or. If we didn't do anything, there's gonna be criticized. There's gonna be criticism if people found out that there's an American. If we didn't do nothing, if we didn't give these 5 guys back. What we're gonna do is we're not gonna do anything. We're gonna get criticized for leaving an American soldier there.
Oh yeah, like anyone knew this dude's name in the last 5 years. So.
No. Hold on. It's just I know. I'm just giving a possibility. That if this guy ever gets known, because in this situation he got known, but if he ever gets known at all, we're gonna get accused that we left an American soldier back there. In enemy hands and just abandon him. That would look just as bad. So that can be used against the administration also. So it doesn't matter. So we took the way that we at least got one of our citizens back, a soldier nonetheless. So it's very gray, but in my opinion, the right thing was done. Whether it's going to cost us something later on is a bridge we'll cross later.
I thought we don't deal with terrorists. Anyone else?
Yeah, I thought we didn't negotiate with terrorists. That was always my understanding.
We didn't negotiate.
What do you mean we didn't negotiate?
I mean,
Chris made a pretty good point when he said that it wasn't like some terrorist group took over a plane and said, "Now you got to give us all the gold or whatever their demands are, in return for these prisoners." That's not what happened.
There were no demands. We just.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you think? We just picked these 5 people out of our own list?
I mean, they didn't put names in a hat and just pull 5. They obviously wanted these guys.
Did anybody say that they demanded these 5, or that we picked these 5?
I'm sure that they were requested.
I'm sure they didn't just take whatever we want to give them.
If you watch the video, the truck's hood's up. They have a white flag. The negotiation was down to the people were out in less than a minute. The helicopter was on the ground in less than a minute. You wouldn't have met all those negotiation terms. There was a deep negotiation that went on. So let's not act like this was just a happenstance thing. And the fact that we accepted 5 for 1, yes, I'm glad that they're American soldiers home, does it set a bad precedent for future scenarios that may impact more than 1 soldier is my question.
If people want these guys dead, if these guys were high risk, they should have been killed. They should have been dealt with to begin with. They should have been, that's what I've always asked for. It's a way of trying these people as threats to the United States somehow. They should have been dealt with like that instead of being just detained. We don't have a foot to stand on in that case. It is. I mean, like I said, I understand both sides of the argument, and it's like, what do you call this? Almost like a necessary evil on one end, and the other one is, we wasted we wasted lives on one guy. And on that note.
Well, war isn't some sort of like, net zero thing where we look at everything as far as what it's worth and what we paid for everything.
Well, I don't know. Well, if we're done with that topic, we can move on to something a little more controversial.
Now let's solve religion.
Let's find something else to get mad at each other about.
Fucking Muslims.
Well, in that case, it's not making national news anymore. The girl that was stabbed 19 times outside of Milwaukee, she was been walking around without any IVs or anything today. And if you're interested, the family is requesting you send pink hearts to her to show that for that you're showing that you care for her and everything else. So her favorite color is pink, and the heart is people.
I didn't even hear about this. What happened?
Two 12-year-old girls.
You didn't hear about this?
Two 12-year-old girls they were out playing hide and seek, and they ended up stabbing 19 times because they said that Slender Man told them to do it or something stupid like that. They're sociopaths, and that's just the end of it.
Yeah, these two
12-year-old girls stabbed another girl.
Their friend.
Their friend. They were going to slit her throat the night before the sleepover, but they couldn't because they didn't want to look her in the eye. But apparently, I guess they got over their fear real quick.
Yeah, they took this, park area in the woods and stabbed her 19 times in the bathroom there, and then she had tried to get up and leave, and they told her that if she tries to get up and leave, she's going to bleed to death. So stay put. They're going to go run and get help. That's the latest.
That was a lie.
Of course, they never went and got help.
No. The girl ended up crawling, I forget how many feet or something, to the road, and a cyclist found her.
Yeah, and I heard the 911 call from the cyclist, and the guy was dead calm. Was amazing.
Yeah, he did a great job. If he hadn't done the job he did, I believe she'd be dead. Because one of the stab wounds was really close to her heart. I forget what the
1 millimeter from one of her major, heart valves,
arteries or whatever. But everybody's saying, well, the girls, they need to be tried in juvenile court because they're facing 65 years in prison each. But those girls are...
The more and more I think about this, I was, when you first hear about the 12-year-old girls, when you first hear about it, you think they're 12-year-old girls, but they had to...
12, I don't know. Be honest with you, I've got a 10-year-old, and I mean...
Wisconsin, he could be tried as an adult.
Yeah, and I've got a 17-year-old stepson, and I've had him since he was 8. So, yeah, I mean, I could definitely. At 12, I think 12-year-olds are. They know right from wrong. They're I don't know. 12-year-olds today, I think, are way more mature and than 12-year-olds.
What grade is 12 years?
I forget. I don't remember their names, and I really don't care to. But one of them is the one that came up with the whole plan because they've been planning this since December. But the other one just followed
premeditated,
along.
especially premeditated.
It's premeditated.
I think they should be tried as adults.
One of them. They're both
talking 6 months.
Yeah, one of them is a sociopath. The other one is basically just follows what she says, and it's a dominant sociopath.
Yeah, somebody is very weak-minded.
Yeah. Just wants to fit in.
Well, children are also more advanced nowadays than before. They're also more coddled and more babied. So while you can say, because he can work a computer really fast and he's really good with technology, he's more advanced now. At the same time, kids nowadays are, even worse off than they were before. Like, they're less independent, they're more coddled, and they almost never face the real punishment. So
I'm hoping they get the max here, but I'm pretty sure they'll get
kids don't need punishment anymore.
Maybe they'll get some. I know they're gonna get some.
Maybe we've evolved past that.
Well, here's the thing. There's actually talk going around that they're actually going to sue the school because the girls use the school-issued iPad off-school property to read about this.
That's bullshit. You don't sue the school.
But even if you read into Slender Man, it's not a killing type thing. I mean, I haven't done any in-depth investigation into it, but it's just some guy in the woods. Like, it's some mythical thing that goes back years. It's not like, some random thing. But apparently they were going to kill her and go run off and live in the cabin with him in the woods. Yeah. So obviously there's some mental problem.
Yeah, they definitely need yeah, but I've been thinking about this. They definitely need to be tried as adults.
You want to talk about how G-Webs and Marco are wrong for open carrying long guns?
Are you so lame that you have to rely on us to come up with your own topics? I can take over the world.
It's not wrong to own carry long guns. It's wrong to initiate conflict with those long guns. I'm not talking about, conflict by getting into disagreements in the restaurant or whatever, or not following the police.
Or parading in front of the cops and saying, "Hey, look at me! I have a long gun. Harass me so I can sue you and put this on video."
Yeah. Or in this case, not obeying the restaurant owner or the manager asks you to leave and you don't leave because it's supposedly your right to have it, and it's not your right to have it in their establishment because it's a private establishment.
Hey, Stone Guy, I got a question for you since you're law enforcement. And basically, I have no experience carrying. If I were in Georgia and I were open carrying, and some crazy old lady calls the police on me, and you come up to me and say, "Hey, sir, how's it going? Can I see your ID? Blah, blah, blah. It's a nice day. Thank you for showing me your ID. Have a nice day." And I go up to you and I go, "Officer, do you know who called you on me or whatever, blah, blah, blah?" And they say, "Oh, yeah, I know who it is." I go, "Well, could you go up to that Samaritan or that civilian and tell them what the actual law is and that they're, misappropriating police by having you come up to me and just talk to me for no freaking reason because what I did was nothing wrong and it's completely legal." Do police actually go up to the caller and say, well, in other words, "Hey, stop wasting my time"?
A beat cop would. I don't know if a cop going out on calls has an opportunity to.
Yeah, if it was, you're exactly right, G-Web. If it's, if it's like if, let's say we're downtown and someone came up to you and said, "Hey, there's a guy down there with a gun," then, you have to make contact with that person, and then, yeah, you could just say, or you could ask the person, the complainant right then, "Well, where was the gun?" "Well, it was in his holster on his hip." "Okay, well, that's illegal. Did he have the gun out?" You can kind of probe and find information. If it turns out it was just some guy legally carrying a firearm, then yeah, you're going to tell the person complaining that's completely legal. He's not doing anything wrong.
So you're stopping more, irrelevant calls by educating that person.
Case in point, there was this incident where I forgot what state it was, but this kid was picking up trash in the street wearing he had like a bolt-action gun on his shoulder, slung on his back. He said he's doing community service, he's patrolling the streets and cleaning up trash at the same time. One of his neighbors was a very anti-gun lady, called the police, told him a couple times, "Hey, stop that, go home, put that away," and also called the police a couple times. And police actually told her immediately, "Ma'am, he's not doing anything, he's not breaking the law, he's not doing anything wrong." So some police will educate, like if you're calling somebody and the law's clear, then they know the law. If they talk, they'll probably talk to you, assess you, see if you're threatening, and if they don't smell bad guy on you, they'll go, they'll tell the lady, "Sorry, hey, he's not breaking any laws."
Well, what about the concept that if there's more people open carrying, so that more of those calls happen, more people will get educated that it's good to go, and less people will make those calls, which will necessitate less people to think they need to make a point by open carrying. And now everyone's educated and we won't win for a while.
I don't think people are going to stop calling just because you tell them it's legal. I think they're going to keep doing it just because they like it.
No, so you have no confidence in human beings where if a police officer says, "No, ma'am, in case you didn't realize, that is perfectly legal for him to walk around like that," then they're just going to let the cop leave, and they're going to pick up the phone and call the guy again.
It's happened before.
G-Webs, trust me, I would love for that to happen. The thing with that is, what they're gonna try to do is they're gonna go to the next town hall meeting, scream, I have the mom, every town that gets gun violence behind me. I want these laws changed where they can't do that anymore. They're gonna some people will, heaven forbid, I do trust enough that enough people will turn around and say, oh, I understand. They are safe people. They're carrying guns, but they're safe. Some people can be turned like that. Some people are just vehemently, like, they want to keep that fear. They love that fear that they think that they feel when there's, it's like, I've been afraid of guns for my life. I'm going to keep being afraid of it. Just like I don't want to go near pools forever because I'm afraid of water. So they clung into that fear and they don't want to get rid of it. And so what they're going to do is they're going to try to change the environment. They're going to make it. Let's just try to make this illegal. Now, whether they're going to get that, their
response.
wish is, yeah, whether they get their wish is depends on legislators. Say somebody in Arizona did that, then they can see the light of day. But in other places they may be able to get that. So it just depends on the environment. Anti-gunners can be very, very stubborn.
Yeah.
But should we keep educating people? Definitely.
Yeah, but keep in mind too, in some states you can't go to your town hall and demand a change because some towns can't overrule state laws.
No, they can ask all they want, but
yeah.
All right. Well, on that note,
how's your pap?
Oh, it's awesome.
Have you shot? Have you shot more?
Oh yeah, I should have got a friggin'
Still in the hospital with his sugar. He's got his sugar problems.
Should have got an AK a long time ago.
There you go.
So much better than an AR right there.
No, they're not better than an AR, but they're definitely fun.
They're two creatures. They're two different monsters. You can't compare the two really. When people say AR versus AK, completely different uses to different machines.
I know.
It's like comparing a baseball bat to a machete.
Actually, a scalpel to a hatchet's a better.
That's what
now
you
do there, Chris.
Hey, Stone Guy, have you let Stone Boy shoot it?
Oh yeah, he likes it too. Yeah, he was a little beast, man. Didn't bother him a bit. Like I thought the recoil was gonna bother him. He was like, "This is awesome."
From the bench or standing?
That was standing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done anything to it yet, or did you keep it standard?
No, other than refinishing it, it's standard.
Refinish. Okay, so you wanna go for the classical look. Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna put it in some like what are those stocks that they put them in?
Are
like
you
the
going
plastic stocks or whatever?
Yeah. Are you gonna put a optic on it?
That I don't know, man. Every time I see Jaegers with the little aim point on it, it sure does look nice. But I don't know if I'm gonna.
I mean, you don't really have to do much change. The thing about AKs is like you don't really have to change because yours has a side rail already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Side rail. You can do you can put something on the side rail. You don't really change mission on the rifle. So shoot, if you can afford an aim point, go for it.
Yeah.
I'll be buying Bushnells. Every rifle I get, I'll be buying a Bushnell for it.
Well, anybody else got anything they want to talk about, or should we roll it over to the open lobby?
Hold on, before we roll, G-Webs, you know that video that Haas uses on his intros where he went to Iraq veteran and he shot that, it's like a frame that turns the AK into a bullpup, but it also is a Bumsky built into it?
No. Did Haas do this?
Yeah, it's part of his intros on some of his videos. One of the most recent ones I watched, he had it. It was either intro or outro. and it's like it's kind of like that frame that the Firearm guy had for his 1022, but it wasn't the P90 version. It looks super futuristic, and the whole AK goes in there, and it's super short, and it's a bump ski.
Well, I don't like anything about it. What's your question?
Oh no, I just wonder if you knew the name brand of it, but I guess you don't.
No, it wouldn't even be on my radar.
Now, what's a bump ski?
It's like a slide fire.
Oh, is that the
way too
street lingo for it?
No,
well, it's a way to induce bump fire for people that don't want to practice how to bump fire normally.
Yeah, bump ski is a brand.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of that before.
It's like the slide fire, but it's made out of metal.
Make sure fully, automatize the trigger. Because
it simulates full automatic.
It's simulated auto. Yep, basically. That's how.
I know what a slide fire is. I didn't realize they made another version of that called the bump ski. That's pretty cool. Versus slide fire, I've messed around with a couple times on an AR and then on the M&P 1522, and it's just, I mean, it's definitely fun, but talk about wasting ammo really quick.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's one thing I don't like about automatic fire. It's like the only time I'm gonna use a fully automatic weapon is if the government's supplying me with ammo.
Well, I'm gonna say, for the 22 shortage, you can just go out anytime you want and buy a box, a ball pack. Yeah, I could see the bump skis, the slide fires on a 22. Just have fun with a couple magazines or so. Just for fun. But now with the shortage, I can't see use of that in that situation anymore.
So 22's not getting any better anywhere else in your areas?
Oh, no.
9mm is as rare as 22 right now.
See, we got plenty of 9.
Yeah, here we got plenty of 9. No, we don't have any 9mm, 22s anywhere I can find.
Actually, the only on the shelves is 45s. That's just a local issue, People are still stockpiling up on 9mm. 40 will sit around a little bit longer, and then 45s.
223 is over plentiful here. Very plentiful here. 9mm is plentiful now. We actually get the 100-round boxes, but the price went up from it used to be $19.99 for a 100-round bonus pack for federal, but now it's like $23. And then the what do you call this? Same price to buy 39 at Walmart. It's actually a somewhat sought after ammo because that it's there every week, but it disappears fairly fast.
Geobs, I'm reading what you put in the thing. I'm all for open carrying a long gun if you're not causing the problem. Like a lot of these people that you see making videos on YouTube are doing.
So, my mute's not working. So it causes a problem to be in your face open carrying a long gun, but it's not a problem to flaunt the NFA with a piece of product that makes everybody in the world think you can have full auto for the price of a stock.
Right, because one makes the news and one doesn't. And we're talking about influence public opinion. And what's our goal here? We're not talking about going to the letter of the law or changing hearts and minds. And what's the most effective way to do that? Is it to be militant about the letter of the law, or is it to understand the other person's side, whether we agree with it or not, and try to work within those bounds in order to try to change the opinions that we can? That's my point about all this. So I don't disagree that yes, you can open carry, and yes, private businesses can tell you to leave, and all this rigmarole, right? But are we reaching the goal that we want to reach? Is it try to desensitize people from open carry, or is it to try to change their opinion of it? And is that the best way to do it, is my question. And I'm not questioning these people on a legal standpoint. This is an effective of their real goal, So then I question their goal. Is it to just get attention, or is it to really further their,
Well, that's what I was talking about
So why
earlier.
the defense of a stock that is going to be misinterpreted by people that aren't familiar with the content of the subject matter? And what's the point of that? Is there really a purpose, or is it simply recreation and trying to be thrilling?
Gee whiz, are we taking these stocks and actually displaying their use in a public business like a restaurant? No.
On YouTube, yes.
We're using these stocks in ranges where
Nobody's scorning people for using the stocks out on YouTube videos where they could scare people. But you guys are going to scorn people that want to choose to do something you don't like to do for even doing it.
I think the way they're wrong, and it's hurting the cause.
Yeah, good. People with fast cars, hurt the cause of driving soberly, insanely.
People always
speed limits to go down.
If we always say that the AR is the modern lever action, then why would we? I mean, like, I still think most of you guys would be okay with people open carrying lever action guns in Texas and just not ARs. But if it's the modern lever action, then what's the point?
I'll say I don't agree with that, because I think, like I said before, society has changed. We're not in those day and age where it was socially acceptable and something you see all the time. Back in the cowboy days, so to speak.
Cowboy days or 1950?
No. We're not talking about changing, and I don't care about what society accepts as far as from a legal standpoint. You have to respect the business owner's decisions in all these to understand that we don't want that. But our whole point, in my opinion, here is
if you guys are still caught up on the concept that we're defending these particular individuals in Texas and their actions, and we're somehow saying that they did a perfect job of doing it, at least what I'm coming from is the same frustration I had the other night, that you guys are so willing to, in lockstep, give the antis ammunition and better ammunition from our own side, that we scorn these guys for even trying. When if some guy wants to get up and make like a god-awful nuisance of himself, we all go, that guy has the right, free speech to make a big nuisance of himself over there. Why do we have to scorn these guys for what they're doing and say you can't do it? There's a time and a place. Where did all that come from? And we live in the slippery slope. You guys don't see the slippery slope there?
I'm criticizing them.
I guess we're talking about open carry again now? I missed everything. I had to run the target.
Well, these guys started saying how it was so cool to have bump skis and slide fire stocks, and I thought that was pretty ironic that we're down for putting up videos of slide fire, which is going to obviously confront somebody. Somebody's going to get scared of that. Somebody's going to think that that's dangerous. Somebody's going to think that that's too easy to get a hold of, and that's going to potentially fuck us on the NFA. But these guys in Texas, 4 or 5 individuals, made the effing news, had the NRA scorn them. Now it's got ammunition for all these anti-gun things, and we're over here scorning these guys for no one's even talked to them, and I just thought that was ironic that we're just kind of blow off the irony there.
How dare you point out hypocrisy?
Well, I'm just saying. That's why we got back on it. So we kind of got back on it, I guess.
I mean, it is kind of hypocrisy. It's like, fuck them if they don't like these bump fire stocks. But then it's like, how dare they not like the open carry? How dare the open carry? People don't like that.
Right. Like, we got to be careful because people.
I'm going to ask you, is it okay to shoulder fire your SIG brace? That's flaunting.
What was that, Yankee?
Rifle, even though
Did you see me do that? Did you see me do it? Have you seen me do anything that says go out and do that?
Do what?
No, I'm asking you if it's okay.
Shoulder a SIG brace.
I haven't shouldered a SIG brace online, and I don't plan to. I mean, I don't see anything I would gain from that. So.
And no matter what my theory on it, you're not going to see me publicly scorn gun owners, pro firearms, recreational shooters for what I don't like.
Yeah.
You're never going to get a quote from gun websites saying how I don't like, even the guy on gun websites doesn't like how so-and-so does such and such. Because trust me, I'm opinionated. I don't like all kinds of stuff. and I won't even talk to people. Okay, here's one. You guys saw that I posted a video that said I will no longer even support a channel where you lay down an American flag, wrinkle it up, take a picture of your goddamn gun on it, and then consider that patriotic. It's no excuse to be that stupid at this point. And it came to a boiling point on Memorial Day for me when everybody was pushing us around for saying Happy Memorial Day, right? So anyway, that's something that's not gun related. But there's things in the gun forums that you'll notice you don't see on my channel. But you're never going to see a quote from me bashing people for doing what they want. It's within the law.
Yeah, it's like
bash people for fishing where they shove their fist down a catfish mouth. I think that's weird. Why would I don't have any interest in doing that. But I don't complain that people do it. If that floats their boat, that's what America's all about.
It's like when people blow up stuff with, what do you call that stuff that they blow up stuff with? Tannerite?
Tannerite,
like people blowing up shit with Tannerite. I would not do it. I don't support doing it. I think it's one of the most ridiculous things you can do. But I'm not going to go make videos like, oh, these people, they need to stop doing this. And I'm just not going to do it.
Right. And that's why I'm so, I guess, frustrated that we're so willing to go, these guys in Texas were wrong, so yeah, let's keep wailing on them for how wrong they were.
Well, I don't think there's a difference between wrong and saying, is this the most effective way, to get your point across? And
no, yeah, I agree. We don't
try to give them constructive criticism.
The other day.
For the next guy coming up, for the next guy that wants to support this, do you want to follow these footsteps, or do we think this might be a more effective method to further our goals? That's my purpose. I don't care about.
And obviously, we're not complaining about that. But what's getting me is when you guys go, well, there's a place for carrying an AR-15, and then you start saying how you're going to get swept and stuff, and you guys go
not
to
me.
that. I know, not you, but I'm saying in the chat.
Me either.
My whole point is like, where's everyone shall not be infringed spirit?
This is why I stay away from that argument, because it's, whenever what I think there is the two sides of that. It's so yes, we should be fighting. On one side, and this is what I hear. On one side, we need to fight for our rights, and we need to do it the best way we can, and to show that there, as firearm owners, by carrying these firearms, we are safe, we are lawful, we are, you should not be afraid of us. Then there's the other side saying you should be doing that. You're scaring the shit out of people, and you're giving and then you're giving anti-gunners momentum. So it's very hard to quantify to classify that argument, because there is no real wrong side to this. It's just it's perception, and it's hard to judge perception. I'm gonna have if I made a video because I either praising one or the other, I'm going to be lambasted one way or the other. So I decided, you know what, they're doing what they need to do to promote, open carry, great, and then these people are coming after them, and both within and without the gun community. It sucks.
What I think is they could have done it a better way.
It's done.
That's just going right back onto the loop around town, because that's what you guys
right.
keep
I'm just
saying.
saying that's my thing. They could have done it a better way. So that
it's done. We can't do anything about it. It's done.
Right.
They're there. The best thing that we can do is just try to keep fighting one way or the other. So we learn our
can
lesson.
all man up and understand that once in a while shit's going to happen that is lame.
It's done. Let's do something. Let's keep fighting the way we've been usually fighting, and we're believe it or not, guys, we're winning this argument. I
just hope the next group of people that decide to do this do it in a better way.
Understand?
With bump fires, I guess. Can you put a bump fire on a lever action, or don't I have to open carry an AR to do that?
There's a way to make a bump lever action automatic.
You could put a bump fire on a single shot shotgun, and it would probably piss off just many uneducated people.
This was on the History Channel once. Okay, this is how John Browning made his machine gun. He got a lever action, put a string on the lever, and then put it on like a little lever on the front that'll catch the gas or the recoil of the round coming out, and it's gonna push out on it, and it would cock the lever back. He did that, and that's how he got the idea for the potato digger machine gun.
And that's what I'm going to defend that they have a right to open carry. I'm not going to defend the way they chose to open carry. The way they, well, not chose to open carry, but the way they acted as they open carried.
How do you know? You didn't talk. You haven't talked to them.
How do we get these guys on the chat? We always talk about it.
How do you know they didn't pull what, like what Yankee does on the 2nd of the month and said, hey, like I'm rocking a cool T-shirt, or I had business cards explaining. We don't even know anything about that.
I can only go off whatever.
Yeah, but you just said you base an opinion off of that, and you weren't there, and you don't know what was said.
I can only go off what I read, and what I read was they weren't the most political going about it. So.
Well, on that note, I'm gonna shut this one down and open up live. It's my power's kind of browning out here. Yeah.
That's racist.
Do you have a computer ready to go there or no?
Not if the power goes out. My internet. I run internet through the cable, so if I lose power, that's it.
Get a generator. What kind of a prepper are you? I'm kidding.
Well, I have a generator, but I'm not firing it up to be on a chat.
I would. It's like, damn it! Hey, I'm back again. I got like a gallon of gas in the generator, so I'm good to go.
But I appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out. And I guess go over to Gun Channels. I'll open up a lobby chat. Continue there.
Have some sushi,
It's been fun.
There you go. But appreciate it. See y'all next time.
Thanks for